This video is going to be the opposite of me climbing up upon Mount Soapbox for a rant. It's going to be kind of like an anti-rant, I suppose. Is that such a thing? It's going to be my thoughts category. So I know there's issues with the game. You know there's problems as well. It's something we've talked about in videos, live streams, over and over again. Plus, as we patiently wait for the next update, whenever that happens to come out, it only adds fuel to the fire. And obviously, people, for the time being, have moved on to other games. So the community of Reddit Online does get smaller and smaller, but it's far from dead. And I know that there are a few people that come along every now and then making that claim that Reddit Online is dead. But the truth is, as long as there's still a community around a game, it's not dead. It's still alive. And that is the same for Red Dead Online. Now, personally, I let my daily challenge streak goes like a week ago. And I only really do them whenever I'm live streaming, just to have something else to do during a live stream. But at the same time, I personally do still have faith in Red Dead Online. I think it still has a future. And I believe that a lot of people within the Red Dead Online community feel the same way as well. So what we're going to talk about is what keeps us playing Red Dead Online. And yes, you're welcome to share your thoughts, your views, and opinions regarding what is it about Red Dead Online that keeps you playing it below in the comment section. Now, yeah, there's not much content to Red Dead Online as of right now. And there's problems in the game. We all know this. But if we go back in time to another game that I like to compare to Red Dead Online, GTA Online, there was a time period, believe it or not, where a lot of people thought that Grand Theft Auto Online was dead. And I think I may have been kind of sort of guilty of that back in the day. Because one of the big selling points of GTA Online was heists. Originally, Heist was supposed to come out with Grand Theft Auto Online on launch October 13th on last gen, but there were issues with Heist, and it took nearly 2 years for Rockstar to finally release Heist to GTA Online on March 2015. So there was a bit of a waiting period for everybody that patiently waited for Heist to come to Grand Theft Auto Online. There were updates that came out in between the launch of Grand Theft Auto Online and Heist, smaller updates that had some cars, properties, as well as a few other items, but nothing compared to the Heist update in March 2015. And that's what really brought people back to Grand Theft Auto Online. Before that point, there was a community around GTA Online, but at the same time, there were people out there saying that that game was also dead. Now, fast forward to 5 years later, April 2020, and obviously, GTA Online is still very much alive and has had a pretty impressive lifespan thus far. Not World of Warcraft lifespan, but still a good online lifespan in its own right. And I believe that Red Dead Online is still very much alive. And if we go by what has been stated last week, that Grand Theft Auto 6, or the next GTA, is in its very early stages of development, if that is actually true, then Rockstar's focus at the moment might be more towards their online games, like, as I mentioned a few times already, GTA Online as well as Red Dead Online. And that means that there's a very real possibility that we could still see content in Red Dead Online for a few years to come. So I don't think that Rockstar has abandoned this game. And hopefully they're fully aware of the problems, and they claim that they look at our feedback, whether it's for whichever online game you happen to enjoy from Rockstar. They apparently like the feedback. They read the feedback, they go over it, and like a big giant slow ship, it's turning in the right direction. It just takes a while for it to get where it needs to get. So what exactly keeps me playing Red Dead Online? Not as much, admittedly, as I was. But what keeps me coming back to this game? Even on some nights when I'm bored and I just feel like riding around, just collecting and stuff, there are definitely a few things that keep me coming back to the game. For one thing, it is a very beautiful world The map is gorgeous, the Red Dead Online Red Dead Redemption 2 map. Credit to Rockstar for creating a beautiful world. They're one of the best when it comes to open world games. And there's obviously Red Dead fans out there, Western fans, whether you came in because of Red Dead Redemption 1 or Red Dead Redemption 2, or because you just love Westerns in general. I mean, a few of the Westerns I happen to like, only a few. The Man with No Name trilogy, Outlaw Josie Wells, Tombstone, Young Guns, Unforgiven, 3:10 to Yuma, Back to the Future 3. That counts as a Western, right? I think it does. And Westworld, both the movie from the 70s with Yul Brynner, directed and written by Michael Crichton, and the series based on Westworld. Well, at least the first 2 seasons. Third season, I've kind of left behind. No thanks. But yeah, I'm a huge Western fan, which initially is what brought me to Red Dead Redemption. Obviously a Rockstar fan, because before that, I loved the GTA series. So yeah, I mean, those are some big reasons why I love playing this game. And other reasons I'm going to come up with are reasons that I like, and some reasons that some of you may enjoy. For one thing, as long as the animals are spawning, you can hunt in the game. Whether you're hunting for food, or you're hunting for items to give over to Crips at the camp for the trader role, or you're simply hunting and selling directly to the butcher, or fishing, for those of you that enjoy fishing. It's a great fishing mechanic. There's lots of different types of fish and bait and lures, as well as rivers and lakes to fish from. And the looting, who doesn't like looting, especially if you happen to be a Diablo fan like myself. And the next level from looting is collecting for the collectors, bounty hunting, doing the trading role, the moonshiner role, as well as the various missions that they've added. And for the PvPers out there, there is content for all the PvPers, from the Showdown series to Gun Rush to horse racing. I just wish that they would disable weapons in horse racing. And of course, PvE players that like taking out NPCs, there's a lot of fun for you to be had as well in free roam, whether it's roaming into Valentine or Blackwater, Strawberry, and just shooting up the place, getting into a firefight with lawmen, or various dynamics like gang hideouts, going up against revenue agents at roadblocks, or taking out rival moonshine stills. There's obviously, at this point, a lot for us to do in Red Dead Online. Not compared to what we hope to eventually have in the game. I do think that we're going to have a lot more down the road, but as of right now, despite the fact there hasn't been any new content for many, many months, there's still plenty of things going on in Red Dead Online that pique some of your interests, that keep you coming back to this game, and hoping that we will have more content, more roles, and more properties, and all that good stuff coming sooner rather than later. Another positive aspect of online gaming is the ability to play with friends. And just like in any other online game, in Red Dead Online, you're able to posse up with your friends and do all these various activities with them. Whether it's working together towards your trader camps, your moonshiners, or anything else entirely, grinding through the missions, or stranger missions, or simply going hunting together, or collecting, running around the map, just grabbing tarot cards, wildflowers, coins, etc. There's definitely a lot of fun to be had with you and friends whenever you posse up together. So going forward into the future is also a big reason why I think a lot of us stay with this game. We have probably dedicated many months, some of us well over a year, to playing Red Dead Online, ranking up our characters, maxing out our roles, getting the money and the gold lined up for the next update. So there's definitely a more, I guess you could say, hardcore element of the Red Dead Online community that is going to stick with this game come hell or high water. And hopefully we'll soon be reaching high water, because it hasn't exactly been great lately. Not as bad as during the beta period. Ooh, that was bad. But there's still obviously a long ways to go with the game. But there is the promise, the hope and dream that more good days are coming to Red Dead Online. For example, future roles as well as content. And of course, got to mention this because I know a lot of you are not happy about this, myself included. The hope that Rockstar is going to finally address the problems, the bugs, the glitches that have been plaguing this game for far too long, with fixes as well as improvements to Red Dead Online, which include, but are not limited to, animal spawn issues, camp pitch issues, as well as giving us less disconnects and no more infinite loading screens, game crashing, and different lobby types, something else that a lot of us have been asking for, like friend lobbies, invite lobbies, posse lobbies, public lobbies, and of course for the PvP players, hardcore lobbies. That would be cool too. So those are just a few of the things that we hope that Rockstar is going to fix once and for all and make the game much better than it currently is. And some other things that a lot of us have been thinking about and dreaming about when it comes to the future roles include some of these ideas, and I'm sure there's plenty of others out there as well. Role-wise, like a trapper role, lawman role, outlaw role, an angler role, a miner or a prospector role. Eventually, maybe you could be like a robber baron, a tycoon, a captain of industry, or some sort of business, local small business owner, a legendary hunter, something to do with horses, like a horse breeder, horse rustler, or a ranch hand, or a foreman, or a ranch owner, a naturalist. There is so many different directions you could go with the roles, and that's something that leaves a lot of people pondering what direction they would like to take their character. What would they like to do role-wise? Maybe eventually we'll have an explorer role. That would be awesome. So yeah, I mean, the sky's the limit when it comes to the various future potential role options that could eventually come our way in the game, and updates themselves besides the roles. So a few of them that I've thought about, that many of you have probably thought about as well, include our own version of heists for Red Dead Online, very similar to the casino heist in Grand Theft Auto Online, where you actually have many options to choose from and replayability. You want a good payout, but you also want replayability when it comes to the heists. And a few of those options in a heist I could think of, like a bank robbery, a train robbery, like a nice armored stagecoach robbery, a riverboat robbery, a few options for Red Dead Online heist update. The Wapiti Reservation, something I talked about in yesterday's Event Week video, because they just recently added a new showdown map featuring the Wapiti Reservation, and it's unfortunate that right now there's no one up there, but I believe if we go by the timeline to Red Dead Online, which is at least a year prior to Red Dead Redemption 2, obviously the Wapiti tribe would be there in 1898. So I feel like Rockstar is going to add the Wapiti tribe to Red Dead Online, and it's going to be a very important element to the game. For one thing, we don't exactly have a quote-unquote town or a community up in Ambarino to go to. So they also have important characters that could give us missions, stranger missions, or even like new story missions revolved around the Wapiti tribe, with Rains Fall, Eagle Flies, Peta, as well as Captain Monroe, plus some stores like a butcher stand, a regular grocery store or a clothing store, someone that does war paint for you or your horse, so you could go up there and get war paint put on your horses or put on your character. Maybe you can go to the clothing store up at Wapiti and get unique Native American themed clothing, as well as hairstyles. A lot of people want some customization options for their bows. Speaking of stories, another thing that people are wanting is a conclusion to the Land of Opportunities arc. We want to find out what happens to Horley and Jessica Leclerc one way or the other. So hopefully we'll be getting some more of those missions coming up sooner rather than later, as well as the introduction of other Red Dead Redemption characters to Red Dead Online, whether for specific story missions or roles, or for just stranger missions throughout free roam, like Charles, Micah Bell, Angelo Bronte, the Braithwaites, the Greys, the Davies twins, which were teased at the very beginning of Red Dead Online. I'm sure Rockstar is going to add them eventually to have something to do with horses. Maybe the ability for us to finally sell horses we no longer want instead of simply discarding them. Or we'll be able to go out into the wild, break in a horse, sell it to them, or even steal horses from NPCs and sell those as well, but for a little bit less coin. A few other characters they could add is like Cornwall, maybe even the Pinkertons under Milton and Edgar Ross. There's a lot of other characters from Red Dead Redemption 2 and possibly even Red Dead Redemption 1 that could eventually make appearances in Red Dead Online that a lot of us would very much like to see, as well as interact with. And finally, something else that a lot of us are looking forward to eventually in Red Dead Online is property as well as other content. Now, this is a big one that may never happen, but a lot of us have been talking about it for a while now, myself included. Expansion maps. For one thing, Mexico across the San Luis, it's just there. You can still get outside the barrier and go around the map to Mexico, but I'm hoping that eventually Rockstar will make it to where we can actually just go across the bridge to Mexico and add all the towns and add characters there and things for us to do. So I'm hoping that we'll get Mexico sooner or later, perhaps even Guarma at the very least. Guarma, the map itself should be used for like various like PvP or horse racing. That would be awesome. And of course, properties like the ability to own an apartment, various homes, cabins, ranches, farms, mansions in Saint Denis, as well as perhaps even our own riverboats, similar to yachts in Grand Theft Auto Online. All these properties, by the way, would have some degree of customization when it comes to the interiors, as well as what we could have inside the properties, like a bathtub or a stove, or your own bed with a weapons locker and wardrobe, and maybe even a fast travel map so you could fast travel from your apartment or your cabin or your mansion to any other part of the map in Red Dead Online. So yes, we definitely want to have some properties added to the game, along with a variety of other vehicles. Currently we have a couple wagons, but we want more vehicles. Some boats would be nice, not just the river boat, but also some regular boats for us to spawn in, like a canoe, a rowboat, maybe one of those little steamboats, all of which I would like to have customizable, where we could actually do a bit of customization with like various paint jobs, skins, upgrades. Bicycles, because bicycles were all the rage back in the 1890s. And other 1890s vehicles, I did a video about that a while back. And even more horse breeds, different options for horse breeds, as well as more stall space in the stables. And as I mentioned already, we definitely want the ability to be able to either A, sell our horses, or at least get like a coupon for like 30% off or 40% off to go towards our next horse purchase. So that would be, a good idea, because a lot of us really don't want to discard our horses that we no longer use. We want to get something in return. More content would include more weapons from the Wild West, as well as clothing, hats, jackets, ponchos, etc. Free roam robberies, like the ability to rob various bank tellers, even like some stagecoaches. Not a big time stagecoach, but just like a small stagecoach roaming by, able to rob it. And of course, it would be nice if we could rob passenger trains. As of right now, we only have freight trains that go around the map, but it would be cool if every now and then a passenger train would appear and we'd have the ability to either rob it or protect it. So yeah, they could do it either way. The ability to stop a bank robbery, stop a stagecoach robbery, and stop a passenger train robbery, or you could be the one that's conducting the robberies in the game. I would also eventually like to see the Rockstar editor added to Red Dead Online, along with a job creator, so we could create our own PvP modes, our own horse races, buggy races, etc. And of course, a variation of Undead Nightmare. Maybe it's packaged as a Halloween update. Yes, once again, I did a video about this already. And that would be awesome, because that could include the Horses of the Apocalypse for us to purchase. There would be a few undead dynamics that would pop up on the map for us to go after. Maybe there would be some unique clothing options we could get through the Undead Nightmare update, as well as the Blunderbuss. That would be awesome. Including the Horses of the Apocalypse, like War, Death, Famine, Pestilence. We could also get the Unicorn. Maybe some mythical animals would also spawn around the map for us to go after, like the Jackalope, as well as the Chupacabra, Thunderbird, Sasquatch, a few other options as well, mythical animal-wise. And I would like to see different mounts, as I mentioned a few times over the years, besides our standard horses. Like, for example, a lot of us would like to either have a donkey or a mule as a horse for reasons, but there could be other mounts that they could bring in from not only Undead Nightmare, but also Red Dead Redemption multiplayer, like, for example, the Bisons, the Buffaloes, as well as the ability to ride a bull. They had that as a mount in Red Dead Redemption multiplayer. And, of course, the Zonkey, a.k.a. the Zebra Donkey, and some other stuff that I wouldn't mind seeing further down the road as the game gets a little crazier, because you know it's going to happen, is maybe even a Pegasus, right? The ability to own a Pegasus, and maybe some steampunk technology in clothing and weapons, courtesy of Professor Dragic. So that's just a list of some things that myself and many of you are looking forward to hopefully getting in Red Dead Online. And a variety of things that we mentioned are reasons that keep us playing this game, because it is beautiful. It is awesome when it's actually running and functioning properly, especially when there's less than 15 players in a lobby. It seems to work just fine in the smaller lobby. But we also are hopeful that Rockstar has not abandoned Red Dead Online and actually has a roadmap for this game, even if they don't exactly like to show us what that roadmap happens to be. They're not exactly transparent. I wish they would give us a little bit of a tease here and there, at least give us some faith and hope that they're not going to sunset this game. But alas, only time will tell. But I still believe, despite the issues that the game has, despite this drought period as we patiently wait for the next update to Red Dead Online, whether it's coming in a week or a month or a few months from now, I still believe that there is hope and a future for Red Dead Online. And all these things are what keeps me playing Red Dead Online. And I'm curious about everything that keeps you playing this game. Or if you're currently taking a break from Red Dead Online, but really do want to eventually come back to this game, what content, what roles, what kind of update, and what fixes could Rockstar do to Red Dead Online that would bring you back to this game? Your thoughts, your views, and opinions, as always, welcome below in the comments section.